Hello and welcome once again to Crazy Comics and Stories. It's me, your charming and delightful old Uncle Rat Bastard. And at the other end of the series of tubes and wires we call the internets is Joe, Crazy Writer. How you doing today, Joe?
You didn't watch the Emmys, did you?
Of course not. I haven't watched the Emmys in bajillions of years.
Sure, you don't care that the ratings were the lowest they've ever been.
Did I win an Emmy?
Just what were you doing instead of watching the Emmys?
Anything else?
You make it sound like you went up to northern Minnesota and enjoyed a weekend day or two with gin.
I plead the fifth.
Okay,
I don't
Jen.
know what you're talking about.
Go ahead. Tell me about your weekend up north, and Cory's going to be a wuss about it.
Well, I was going to save that for later.
Ah, screw it. Today's later. Let's do it. What'd you hear about?
Hold on. Joe, you're just doing this to get out of telling us how you're doing.
Yeah, Joe.
That's very true.
How's your
I have seen through your ploy, your cunning scheme, as it were. How are you doing today, Joe?
Apparently I'm cunning. I like that.
Jen, if Joe won't tell us how he's doing, how are you doing today? Jen Wicked joining us once again.
I'm doing pretty well. I've got your... What the hell was that?
Joe applauding. It won't happen again.
I've got your vodka this week mixed with Pepsi, and I find it much, that wasn't me. I find it much more drinkable, and I'm eating cookies from the gas station for dinner.
Oh, that's healthy.
I know, right? You had such a good time with my shameful pizza last week, I thought. Maybe I should tell you what I'm eating for dinner because I'm so busy. I barely made it home in time to start drinking and talk.
You see the sacrifices we do for you
drinking.
people?
I know. I have to schedule.
You know, the thing is, if we just continue with this, by the time it's the end of October, well, Jen, what are you having for supper? Pixie sticks and crack.
Well, I happen to see a rat dragging a pizza down the steps. I just took it from him.
I'm doing well. My apartment's almost finished. Cory helped me get a stand in here the other day to get the TV up off the floor, and I've got the shelves on the way for my kitchen so I can put
floor TV.
I know, floor TV. I can put my pots and pans up on the rack and it's good. I want to amend my, what did I ask people to bring me to FallCon last week?
Vodka.
Yeah, I think I said Kit Kats and gummy worms. I want to amend that to whiskey and rum.
I don't think the state fair will let you get away with that. So if you do it, be sneaky.
Put it in one of those brown paper sacks.
If it's sealed, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to drink it there. Just bring me offerings.
No, you're missing.
Sailor Jerry
it's not the sealed thing. It's state fair. You can't serve or give alcohol on state fairgrounds. You're not allowed to bring it in. Do not mess with the state fair mafia. So if you're going to bring it, be sneaky.
Why would we be going to the state fairgrounds, Joe?
I'm going to cut out with that alcohol like Joe's mic. There's my one good one-liner before I start getting too drunk to be clever.
You may not be clever when you're drunk, but you are entertaining.
Everybody loves
Especially since Joe seems to have vanished. We have driven him away, it looks like. Is he gone? Is he gone completely?
Oh, no, I just found a cool website. Things we photoshopped on Donald Trump's head.
Dear God.
Joe, how are you doing? Please tell me.
I'll tell you as long as Cory's not listening.
Okay, Cory's not listening. Will you tell me how you're doing?
I'm doing okay. Just a day off. Did a lot of eBaying. Just kind of hung out outside. It was nice.
It was very nice outside today.
Did you guys get hit by any rain over the weekend?
I don't.
Or were you driving home when it hit?
It wasn't raining while we were out on Sunday. I can't remember Saturday already.
Ooh, that must have been a good Sunday.
My memory. Oh yeah, I was working all day Saturday. I don't know. I didn't pay attention.
It started raining as we got into the Twin Cities.
Did it?
Yes.
Oh.
So the curse continues that Joe likes to give bad weather.
I'm telling you, put more than one rider in a room, boy, it's going to start raining.
And one other thing that Jen was asking for last week, we have achieved. And neither one of you even remember, do you?
What?
Even though you were both there.
Was it the cast of Seinfeld sitting in her room?
No, Jen finally made it over to your house.
Oh, yeah.
And she saw the Basement of Doom.
Yes. It's not a Basement of Doom. It's my accumulation of crap.
Jen, would you please to explain to the people your impression of Joe's basement?
I don't know how to describe it.
She looked befuddled.
It's a basement, which I don't understand basements. So
that's true. They don't have a lot of them in Texas.
They don't. It's a room that's below ground level. So
yes, we tend to hide there when tornadoes come.
Yeah. Tornadoes.
Yes, we have them up here.
It's like a water spout on land.
Oh, tornadoes. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, you get hurricanes down in Houston. Imagine a hurricane, except it's really, really, really small and spins much faster.
I see.
And it has rain around it, but no rain in it.
Y'all talk about something else. I've lost interest in this.
How World War II German sub-captain used the toilet wrong and sunk his vessel. No?
No.
Well, how about the ex-hedge funder who hiked the AIDS pill by 5,500% says the drug is still underpriced?
No.
How about the Midwest Comic Book Association Fall Comic-Con? October 10th, 2015, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds Education Building. Over 100 guest creators, lots of dealers, huge variety of comics and collectibles. It's the one-day wonder, 480 minutes of extreme comic book action. Admission is $8 per person, and of course, if you bring a can of food or non-perishable item for the food shelves, they'll take $1 off. Age 9 and under and get in free. Again, that's at the Minnesota State Fairground Buildings, October 10th, 2015. www.mcbacomiccons.com, and they have advance tickets on sale now.
See, I find it interesting that they're doing the advance tickets now. How long till they're selling tickets through Ticketmaster, and then the $8 tickets will be $35?
Can I complain a little bit?
Husband, I am home. I have brought you a steak.
Ooh, my wife brought me meat. Excuse me a second, I'm going to eat. I love my wife.
Well, he's eating. Jen, why don't you come clean?
I said complain.
Oh. Fine, complain.
Well, okay.
That's usually pretty entertaining.
It's not going to be entertaining. Like, I was trying to look at promoting FallCon on my Facebook page, and I know we talked about this on Sunday, but the event page for FallCon was made by somebody other than the organization hosting it, and there's no graphics, and there's actually a comment on the Facebook event page that says, like, way to go guys for making your Facebook page yourselves for the event, and I just, like, I didn't get my invite, and they said they sent it, and I never got an email, and they said I was on the guest list, and I'm going to be there whether they like it or not. But I
may not be there, so.
I'm really, like, I came up here in May, and I was there, and it was great, but it just, like, it felt kind of disorganized then, and it feels even worse now, like before I at least got a response, yes, you have a space, and there was some communication, whereas the only communication I've had this time was when I actually hounded them about it. So I'm slightly concerned about the future of this convention.
Joe, you're going to need to take over.
Yeah.
Because we know Joe's organized. We've seen his basement. I ain't doing it. I did it, and that was enough.
I show up, I do what I do, I leave. What are we doing at it anyways, assuming I can get off work?
We will have the laptop, headsets, and we will be interviewing people as they drop by. We will be talking about. Are you going to make people sit in your laptop again? What?
You're not going to make people sit in your lap while you interview them, are they?
Hell no.
Oh, good. When you said laptop, I got a little worried.
That would be human contact, and we all know I don't much care for that. No, we're going to be interviewing people. Whenever you go wander off for gas, when you come back, you'll tell us what you saw. We'll have Jen talking. Dan will be there. Stephanie will be there. And there will be a title match with video for the title of the best dressed man in comics. Even though, really, come on, it's no competition. I could show up in stuff I bought from a thrift store and still win. This is, I'm not even gonna do, I'm not even working hard on this one, not even thinking about it, not even sweating it. Jen, what are you going to be bringing other than your lovely self?
I'll have my trunk of awesomeness. I'll have my lunch break mini comics. I should have 2 or 3 of my Happy Rat paintings for sale. I may have miniature Happy Rat paintings for sale. It depends on how much work I get done in the next month. And let me see what else. Stickers, and Sharpie sketches, some framed and some unframed. So I'll have mini comics and quite a bit of original art for sale.
Bring monies.
Bring cash and booze.
And next week will be the fabulous FallCon episode. It may be our most jam-packed with guests episode ever. We may have so many people that I could just go in the other room and lay down. And that, of course, will make it a much better show. Joe, what's the status update on you being able to get to FallCon? Joe? Joe left us for steak.
It is. I'm okay. I'm done chewing. I just had to floss the bits of beef out of my cuspids. Beef. No, it's not looking good. I brought it up to my manager, and he's thinking about it. But the problem is he's out of town too. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll have an update next show.
Okay. Is there anybody you can bribe?
What the hell? You think I'm a congressman? I just work for the federal government. I'm not the congressman.
Fine. So there's your update, everybody. Speaking of updates, I have been surfing around on the internet looking for topics we can discuss. And one of the topics I saw that I found a little interesting was that a former DC writer, Joshua Hale Viakoff, I'm probably horribly mispronouncing his last name.
Then you should have had me do it. That's my shtick. If
okay,
you
Joe,
could you mispronounce names? What do I bring to the table?
All right, Joe, could you please mispronounce this gentleman's name?
All right. Joshua Haley Fialkova.
Thank you.
Hey, Joe, will you mispronounce my name?
Little House of Terror.
Oh, not bad.
Rather than actually give an interview or write an article or anything, he did what all adult, intelligent human beings did when they went to talk about an issue dear and important to them. He went to the fire-breathing Twitter machine to bellyache about his treatment from DC when he was working on, one of the Green Lantern books and a couple other things. And the reactions from professionals has shown a generational gap to me, because a lot of the younger, his main complaint was he wasn't allowed to write the kind of stories he wanted to write, and that DC editorial came to him and said, we want you to write a story where thus and such character gets killed. And he was upset over the low pay. He was upset over the editorial changes to his work. He was upset over his treatment, and how when he said he was going to quit, they went, okay, fine, and moved on and didn't try to keep him. And there were younger professionals who were, this is an outrage, this is terrible. And older professionals are like, the hell is your problem, buddy? To the point where a friend of the show, Greg Theakston, had a post where he basically said, look, you're working in the comics business. If you're working for DC or Marvel, you do what they tell them, you turn your stuff in on deadline, and you shut up. If you don't like it, leave.
It's kind of like Neil Gaiman said, they're not your mother, they're not your friend, they're not your partner, they're a business. Just do business, and that's it. Don't expect any more. Have everything outlined, and you'll get along okay. And obviously that worked real good for Alan Moore, but that's a different subject.
Well, sometime maybe we'll go into deep background on how Alan Moore got screwed by both Marvel and DC. But the thing that got me, and the thing that kind of made me think about it more than I probably should, is he talks about how the job nearly killed him, about how it wasn't enough to feed his family, how he gets paid better. What was it? I think he said he made more money writing one script for TV than he made his whole time in comics. And he ends this Twitter whining with, but I love these characters and would go back in a heartbeat if they'd let me. That sounds A, codependent, and B, why people go to these big companies to get abused. Look, the pay is terrible, but I get to draw Spider-Man. So
You'd think you'd do it like some of go play in the playground, but just remember they're not your toys. And then you can move in, get your money, and leave.
If it's your lifelong dream to draw Spider-Man, and you've done it, and then you don't like it when it's there, guess what? You don't have to do it for the rest of your life. You did it. Move on. If you can find better work, find better work. I'm at a job right now I don't like. Do I whine that I want the job to be better and I'm going to stay and work? No, I'm sending out resumes by the bajillion.
Bullshit, you whine to me all the fucking time.
Yeah, but I'm also doing something about it.
Yeah, sometimes he whines to me.
Yes.
I don't listen. But
do I ever say, I desperately want to stay here? No. I say, I want to get another job and get the hell out. I've had shitty jobs in the past. You could go through all 208 episodes and you won't hear me go, yeah, you know that shitty job that almost killed me? God, I wish they'd hire me back. No! If you don't like your job, look for another job. I don't care if it's comics, baseball cards, toaster ovens, what?
I want to be a toaster oven.
Joe, you know Transformers. Is it possible for a cute redhead to become a toaster oven?
Oh, hell yeah.
Anything is possible.
I'm more worried about what, you put in the toaster.
You always put toast in a toaster oven.
No, you
and maybe
put,
leftover
you
pizza.
Put bread in. Toast comes out.
Yeah, we can hear you. Not well, but we can hear you.
Okay, awesome.
The problem is if you put cold pizza in gin, you don't get it back warmed up.
I like cold pizza. I
You
don't
like
where this conversation is going.
You like terrible pizza from Target.
You know what? I don't have to put up with this abuse.
You got hundreds of people dying to abuse you?
I got hundreds of people that won't make fun of my pizza.
Yeah, they will once they see it.
No, they won't.
Topic number 2.
That was a topic?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I was
Unless you guys got a topic.
I don't have a topic.
Joe, do you have a topic?
He's just going to do the FallCon thing again.
Yeah.
Joe, do you ever have a topic?
Yeah, but you usually poo-poo it.
No, go ahead.
I think what he's doing, he's trying to get me revved up for my my own podcast.
That's never going to happen.
That's never.
You'd be surprised.
I'm starting a second solo podcast, and Joe still hasn't started one. Jen's got a podcast.
I have a podcast.
Yeah, but she's also a cute redhead. Everybody wants cute redheads on their podcast.
This podcast isn't one that she's on. This is her podcast.
Well, it's my podcast with my friends.
Unlike us,
we're just people she tolerates.
Well, this is your podcast that is hosted by my friends. There's a distinct difference.
Please to explain both the difference and the podcast.
I'm the ringleader of the other one, whereas you're driving this train wreck.
Right into the ditch every week.
That's funny because I watched on NBC News how people keep running the warning gates and try to jump in front of trains. And if the train hits you, it wins.
See, when I see people do that, I pretty much just see it's, there's natural selection in action.
Well, the best part about this one is they had motorcycle cops, and it was a fairly low-speed crossing. So as people would dart across, the cops were there to, like, give out tickets, and they're like $400 fine. I was like, yeah, nail them.
Not only is it a $400 fine, but if the police don't catch you, the train will.
So and what was weird is usually between 5 and 6, I just turn on the news and I take a nap. But the stories were interesting enough where I actually stayed up for it.
Joe, I'm still waiting on your topic.
Yeah,
I didn't say I had one.
No, you said whenever you bring up a topic, I poo-poo it. So
yep.
the floor is yours.
Well, it is. As a matter of fact,
dazzle us with your brilliance. I'm sitting back and waiting.
Are all over the floor. Well, I wanted to hear about your travels up north because I didn't get to go up north.
We went to Duluth. Cory and I went to Duluth on Sunday.
What'd you think of it?
It's a city on the lake. There's water.
Lots of water. Of course, you lived next to more water.
I did. Well, within about an hour.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what you want me to say. Cory carried my coat around. He dropped my sunglasses on the ground. I had alcohol with breakfast. That was amazing. Oh, bring me champagne. I like these things called mimosas.
We got a picture of a pensive chef.
We did. There was a chef with the hat on and everything. He looked like straight out of the Ratatouille movie. So I surreptitiously took a photo of him since I was sitting in the right place.
I also like the fact that he basically came out to the bar and was, looking as if he was solving mathematical equations as he stood at the bar. It was almost as if he posed for you without knowing it.
He did. It did. It was an experience.
Now, I'm going to say something that will shock Joe. So hopefully Joe is sitting down. We didn't go to a single comic book shop.
Actually, it didn't shock me because you said you weren't going to.
Yeah, but I still like when we said, I like when people tell you where you should go when you ask. We asked Joe, where should we go when we go to Duluth? Joe said, comic shops. Stephanie, who will be on the show next week, asked her, where do you go when you go to Duluth? And she was like, the India Palace, because, of course, Duluth is well known for its Indian cuisine. One of the people I work with at the group home, Tom, I asked him, where should we go? And he said, don't even go to Duluth. You want to go out here and you want to go to this. And it was all of this natural history stuff out in the middle of nowhere that, Jen doesn't like going out in the woods because she believes that there are bears there.
Bears and snakes? Is that what I said?
Yes, snakes and bears.
We don't have a lot of snakes up here, but we do have bears. Don't worry, they've been working their way down into the cities.
I don't worry about the bears. Now, the coyotes and the wolves I worry about. But you're from Texas. You usually have at least, 5 guns on you at any given moment?
I have so many guns.
It's the law down there. You have to have at least 2 guns.
Yep, even in Texas, the hippies are armed to the teeth.
Damn hippies.
Damn
no,
teeth.
We did the kind of stuff that Jen likes to do. We went to a thrift store, which fucking lied, said right on the window, we have everything you need. Jen, did they have everything we need?
They had everything I needed, which was apparently 2 giant, really tacky gold plates.
They had 8-track tapes.
They did.
But no 8-track tape player.
They had some Halloween stuff.
They had old radios that probably didn't work.
Yeah, I really wanted one of those, but there wasn't a way to test it, and I don't know where I would put it.
They did not have any of my favorite thing at thrift stores, which are the stuff you get from the TV infomercial ads. You know, no slap chops. They did have a Snuggie. But none of that stuff, no unitaskers, they didn't even have a Dutch oven, which is what I need. I need a Dutch oven. I need a lot of Dutch ovens.
Joe can help you with that.
Okay. Joe, can you give me a Dutch oven?
I don't know any Dutch people. I don't know any Dutch people.
Really? I just throw a softball at you and you're not going to take the fart joke?
No.
Wow.
We're too classy for fart jokes.
Just don't give fart jokes.
Joe doesn't do fart jokes.
Fart jokes are like breasts. They have to be earned.
What kind of jokes do you do,
Who's
Joe?
Who's earning them?
Dad jokes.
Obviously, Joe's wife.
You have to earn her breasts, or she has to earn her own?
Oh, they're off limits. Trust me.
And then as we drove up, we saw a couple trees that had leaves that were slightly turning yellow.
We did. That was slightly disappointing, but you know.
And then as we came into Duluth, because I've only been to Duluth once in the past, and it was a weird experience that we shall not talk of on the air. I had forgotten that you kind of come up kind of over a hill, and then way down there is Duluth. We have no mountains in Minnesota, but this is about as close as we get.
It's a very large hill.
And you see it all spread out, including this bridge, which is longer than any bridge I've ever seen except the one over Lake Pontchartrain in Louisiana. It's a frighteningly long bridge. Does it go completely over Lake Superior?
No.
Like all the way into, like, I don't know, New York City or something?
No, it's just connecting the little, there's like a piece of land there or something, and it's just, you haven't seen very many bridges, have you?
I don't get out much.
No. It's not that amazing of a bridge. It's a very nice view when you come over the hill, coming into Duluth.
And then we ended up in the downtown, where Jen drank with breakfast.
I did. I had a mimosa.
And we finally went to the Duluth Trading Company.
We did, and
which was very disappointing.
Yes, not at all what I was expecting, because it comes up.
Pants.
It comes up in a Google search, like every time I search for any kind of item of clothing, there it is, fucking Duluth Trading Company. And I was like, holy shit, it's like an actual storefront in Duluth. And they just had, like, overpriced jackets and pants.
And heavy shirts.
And very heavy lumberjack-looking shirts.
I was not impressed. Their commercials are really good. The store itself looks like Banana Republic for lumberjacks. And then we went, what is that thing called? Because I keep saying the lake walk, the river walk.
Lake walk.
I think it was the lake walk, yeah. It's like a boardwalk that goes down the shore of Lake Superior, and there's a couple of restaurants, and you can rent the little bicycle things and stuff down there. And there were a lot of flowers, and there were butterflies, and I was saving that for geeking later.
But we went to Krabby's.
We bought mini donuts from a boat. And this is documented on my Instagram. They actually sold me, donut holes. They were billed as mini donuts, and they were donut holes. So, fuck you, Duluth.
We are not happy with Krabby.
Yeah, the person running the boat food was very nice and polite, as I've come to expect from the people that live in this good state. But I feel misled and betrayed, being sold donut holes labeled donuts. I mean, mini donuts are not the same thing as a donut hole. There's a lot more surface area that is fried in a mini donut versus a round doughy lump.
It depresses me that the mini donuts at the movie theater near my house is better than the mini donuts that we drove 2.5 hours to eat.
Well, I didn't drive there specifically for that. It was a spur-of-the-moment decision.
Really?
I did not drive to Duluth to eat mini donuts.
I don't know. You seem very excited about the mini donuts.
I like donuts.
And I know that you usually have a secret hidden agenda when you do things. I still think you drove up there for the grapefruit drink and the mini donuts. And you cannot dissuade me from this thought. Meanwhile, Joe has wandered off and is now outside with the bunny, crying silently.
Oh, no, I'm just catching up on Night of Champions.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't watch it, but I just read about it. I got the network. I can watch it when I want.
And what was the restaurant that we ate at on the way back?
On the way back, it was the Lazy Bear Grill, and actually I would highly recommend this place if you're going that way. I'll make sure I stop there on the way back from Duluth, if I go up that way again. Because I was just kind of expecting run-of-the-mill diner food, and it was actually really good. I was quite surprised.
And if we do go back to Duluth during the winter, I've been told that I must drive.
Yeah, I don't really want to make that drive in the winter.
But you'll sit in the passenger seat and stare out the window and ignore me.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. Now, Joe had recommendations for places to eat food.
Mine are farther up the North Shore.
Joe, I teed it up for you.
Yeah.
You're not playing ball today.
No,
I
I'm
need
not.
more alcohol.
Yes.
Yeah, Joe, why aren't you drinking?
Who says I'm not?
I could tell you're not drinking.
I just chewed on a steak for 5 minutes. Meat's getting in the way of my alcohol absorption.
So the other topic I had, since Joe won't go to a topic.
I did a topic. I listened to you and Jen talk about your weekend. I was entertained. I love the North Shore. I'd love to move up there.
Now, where was that movie theater you were talking about buying?
It was farther inland. Ely, Minnesota.
I have no idea where that is.
I know. Lord knows you ever look at a map.
I have a GPS on my phone. I don't need maps.
Sure you do.
Besides, I'm a fan of Back to the Future. Where we're going, we don't need maps. Stunned everybody into silence with that.
No, actually, I just saw a picture of Christina Ricci as Morticia Addams.
Yeah, she grew up good. Joe, we finally have all of what you need to get all of the variants for Dark Knight 3, The Master Race. Still, I think that's a horrible, horrible title. The Master Race.
'Cause the Führer says, "Wie is the Master Race?" I'll right into the Führer's face.
Wow, Jen's not paying attention anymore.
Well, that was historical music. Maybe she'll tolerate that.
No, I think she's gone off to get more booze.
That's probably wise.
All right, here we go. Are you ready?
Yes.
There are 1 in 10 covers, 1 in 25 covers, 1 in 50 covers, 1 in 100 covers, and 1 in 500 covers. These all mean that you can order one copy of that variant for every number of comics you buy of the regular edition of number 1. And you must order no less than 500 copies to get a single copy of the 1 in 500. $499 will not do. $498, absolutely not. It must be 500 of the regular. So even if you're ordering $499 of the regular, 49 of the 1 in 10, 19 of the 1 in 25, 9 of the 1 in 50, and 4 of the 1 in 100. That's 580 comics total. That still will not get you the 1 in 500 variant. So to get the 1 in 500 variant, you actually need to order 585 copies.
And, of course, there's a blank variant. You can order in any quantity, and I don't know if that applies to as the regular copy. Because when I had the shop, the big shop, and Marvel mostly would pull this stuff, variant copies would count. And sometimes when you're ordering this stuff, it's all on their own line. So it's like you order, okay, 580 copies of the regular book. Okay, the 1 in 10, that means now you can order 58 copies, by doing the math right, of the 1 in 10. And you can order 23 copies of the 1 in 25, and so on and so on. And what I would do is I would always, instead of 23 copies of the 1 in 25, I'd put 25. Sometimes you would get it if they're not paying attention. Now, of course, if you want to order a mere 1,000 copies, you can order the have your store logo on the book in black and white version. And if you're truly insane and have about $16,000 cost, you can order for a low order of 5,000 copies, assuming that you ordered, 500 additional number 1 in 10s, 200 1 in 25s, 100 1 in 50s, 50 1 in 100s. That's 5,850 copies of the book. You'll be allowed to order that Jim Lee sketch. You're not getting it free. You're going to have to ask about the pricing on this item. And I will give kudos to kudos. We're taking these numbers off Brian Hibbs' ever popular column, Tilting at Windmills. And this one's in the Dark Knight. He always posts on Comic Book Resources, and he's got Brian's been doing a shop for years, and
over 30 years.
I think he's just pointing out how frickin' ridiculous this is. And we haven't even gotten to the hardcover, the one we talked about last time when I was asking you which one you were going to order. I guess you said you're going to wait for the book.
Yeah.
I was trying to decide, do I want to go with no variants, but I was trying to decide if I wanted the standard format 32-page comic with a 16-page mini comic, which is more of an ash can really than a mini. And they haven't said who's doing the art on that, or wait and get the hardcover for $12.99 in the assumption that later on I could get all the issues together in a slipcase and it would look really cool on the bookshelf, even though I would spend way more.
Frightening amounts of money.
I still haven't figured that out. I'm going to go on while you've dissect this, I'm going to go on the Discount Comic Book Service and see what our price would be.
Joe's about to leave and do math. Now, here's the thing for me. First off, Frank Miller is not writing or drawing this book. He is plotting it. The actual scripting is being done by Brian Azzarello, and the art is being done by Andy Kubert and Klaus Janson. So while this is a sequel to Dark Knight, Miller is just giving the plot. And DC is pushing this thing harder than they've ever pushed anything before. And as I was reading through this and looking through all of the information online, it reminds me a lot of Before Watchmen. And Joe and I talked about Before Watchmen before it came out. And there was all this hype. There were people who were like me. It's like, no, Watchmen doesn't need prequels. This is, unnecessary. And other people who were, oh, no. This will be, this could be cool. This could be great. They're getting comics' greatest creators. And, well, it's now been a couple of years since Before Watchmen came out. None of the Before Watchmen trades or hardcovers are on the sales chart anymore. No one talks about it anymore. I never heard a single review of someone saying, oh my God, this book is great. It just felt like DC felt they had to do it, because if they didn't, it would still be sitting out there and needing to be done. And the more I think about Dark Knight 3, the more I think it's, well, they kind of have to do this because they have to do this. And, well, I hope Frank Miller makes a lot of money from it because I hear he's been very sick. I'm not seeing anything about the story. I'm not seeing anything about what they're going to do with it. And it strikes me as just, well, come on, it's another Frank Miller Batman story. Of course you idiots are going to buy it. Come on, lap it up, fanboys. Give us your wallet. We're going to milk it. We're charging you $6 an issue. And we're going to put it in all these weird formats so that we can charge more. And 2 years from now, will anybody care? Actually, if Joe's still there, Joe, do you think this book will be finished in a year?
I don't know.
Or do you think it'll be like all the other Dark Knight books where, oh, here's the first issue, second issue, oh, it's a few weeks late, third issue, oh, yeah, it's a couple of months late, fourth issue, it'll come out if we ever get to it.
If Miller's only plotting it, it should be done, you would think.
Well, one would hope. But the Before Watchmen stuff, that was late. All of these big event books end up being late.
All right, are you ready for the breakdown according to Discount Comic Book Service?
I'm ready for the breakdown.
All right, I'm going off what you would pay if you're buying it through Dark Knight or Discount Comic Book Service, Dark Knight 3. The regular book they're giving you a 50% discount on, so it'd be $2.99 cost to you. They have the blank variant, $3.59, which I never understand why they charge more for that because it's the same cover price. Let's see, the collector edition hardcover, they're giving a generous 50%, so you get that at $6.49. They have a Discount Comic Book Service exclusive Neil Adams variant for a low $4.49.
Oh, only $450?
No, $4.
Oh.
Yeah. No, we're still on the low end. We haven't gotten to the high end yet.
Oh, okay.
Now, the mentioned store logo variant, they're selling at 40% off for $3.59.
That's not terrible.
No, not really. Brian Hibbs talks about because they had to order, what'd they say, 1,000 of them? He could only speculate that very few comic shops would probably be ordering it. More likely, maybe Graham Cracker, Midtown Comics.
DCBF.
Yeah,
DCBS, obviously.
Yeah, we already know them. And a few other ones. Let's see.
I think any of the big mail order ones are going to have this. Do you think the Source will get one?
I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody over there. I might have to stop over and ask. Let's see. The in-stocks trade exclusive Lee, I can't say his name, Bermejo variant, they got a $4.49. Now the prices start going up. The Jason variant is $12. The Kubert variant is $25. What just says variant edition, it doesn't say who's doing it, is at $50. Then there's a Miller variant, $150. The Lee variant is $1,000, and they're not even offering the if you spend $16,000, you can have the Jim Lee do your own sketch variant.
I think it would be cheaper to fly to Jim Lee's house, give him $5,000, and ask him to sketch on the cover of a comic.
What I like, the one thing that Brian Hibbs talked about is that there are people working in his store that weren't born when the original Dark Knight came out.
Yeah.
And, you talk a lot about people going into the past and grabbing licensed comics of properties that have been sitting dormant from years, and you're kind of like who cares? This almost smacks of that. I'm beginning to understand your argument on that because you're like, I'm excited about it because I was there for the first one, I was there for the second one, and once you explained to me the second one was more like a comedy, because the second Dark Knight, nobody liked.
No, there were people who liked it.
I don't know. I didn't catch many. When you explained to me, treat it more like it's a comedy, then and actually it read better as a book, I should say.
Yeah, it was much better as a book. Miller was kind of doing a backlash to what he had done himself. Dark Knight was Miller, who loved Raymond Chandler and Mickey Spillane and Dashiell Hammett and brought that to comics. And then he continued that through Sin City, where Sin City was basically every crime novel I've ever read that was written in the 40s and 50s and 60s. Dark Knight 2 was like, these superheroes are people in goofy costumes and we're taking this shit way too seriously. Let's have fun. Let's do goofy 60s DC stuff.
But you know, the one thing that I thought was funny, and when I read it, I was kind of like, oh, Miller, you magnificent bastard. He had that thing where Flash was inside a turbine running, and he was supplying power to everything. And the reason he was doing that was because they said they had Iris and were holding him and would do whatever if he stopped running. That actually came out of a Schoolhouse Rock electricity thing. If you remember Schoolhouse Rock from the 70s, they had the thing where they go, if only we'd have a superhero that could run real fast, we wouldn't need to burn so much coal to get electricity. And I'm thinking, wow, did he lift that? Or is it just a natural, wow, it makes sense to me. I laugh every time I hear that song or I read that in Dark Knight. Do you ever, Corey, when you're reading something, you know, we're talking about Dark Knight, you got the urge now to like read Dark Knight?
I read Dark Knight again every year or so.
I haven't, and I think I might have to find the Absolute. I know my daughters have had it. I have one shelf where all the Absolute versions are, and I think that has everything. That has the Dark Knight and Dark Knight 2, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So I'll just find that, because I got the urge to just read that.
It's like Sin City. I go back, I read Sin City every couple of years. I really like Miller when he was doing not just the noir crime stuff, but the Sin City art where he reversed the highlights.
My daughter's still got my big, bad Sin City hardcover. Slowly wading through it.
Where when you read Sin City, it's like the stuff that would have been outlined in black is outlined in white and vice versa. And then, you know, when that became big, everybody forgets Jim Lee tried to rip that off with, what was that book? Death Blow.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember picking it up and going, wow, I think Frank Miller can claim Jim Lee as a dependent on his taxes this year. But the thing about this nostalgia stuff, it reminds me of when Neil Adams did his Batman book. Older fans were like, holy shit, Neil Adams is back on Batman. Oh my God, this will be the greatest thing ever. And I was like, have you read anything Neil Adams has written in the last 30 years? It's not going to make any fucking sense at all. This is the guy who did Skate Man. This is the guy who did Ms. Mystic. This is the guy who did The Rise of Magic, which I tried reading twice, and it makes less sense than Deathmate. Wow, Joe's become immune to Deathmate over 200 episodes.
So it's Poindexter's fault, Brian. He put it on my wall, and I kind of emptied my stomach earlier.
But now your stomach is full of steak.
Yeah, but it's still digesting. You know what happens. When you die, you have 7 years of undigested steak in your stomach.
I don't.
Where's that gum? Whatever it is.
And for all of the talk of how Neil Adams' Batman Odyssey was going to be huge, it flopped. It flopped big. It flopped so big that they ended it with issue 6 and started it over with a new number 1 to try and at least get enough sales so that they could make some profit on it. And the trade paperback flopped. And now they're doing I think it's a Neil Adams Batman Omnibus. They actually pulled it back. They solicited it, pulled it back, resolicited it the next month with Neil Adams Batman Odyssey in it. Joe, have you tried to read Batman Odyssey?
I'm not sure I have all the issues.
It doesn't matter. You can read them in any order you want, and they still make just as much sense.
Oh, that's good.
I've read it twice. I still don't know what the plot is. But boy, it's purty. And DC keeps going back to nostalgia. It's like, oh, we're going to do Before Watchmen. Well, the people who read Watchmen pretty much think, yeah, we don't need that. And the people who haven't were too young to care. It came out in 86. It came out 28 years ago.
I was 6 years old.
How's that make you feel, Joe?
Oh, look, Ewoks.
I came back. Did you miss me?
Yes, we did, but we talked hardcore comic stuff, so, you know, you wouldn't have said anything.
I went in the kitchen. I'm cooking pasta.
Oh, good. And so you're going to have pasta and cookies.
I already ate the cookies.
Pasta and vodka.
Now, you can make a good vodka sauce. I doubt she will, but you can make a good pasta sauce with vodka. But when you keep going back to nostalgia, if all you've got is the past, your audience continues to dwindle.
Do you think DC erred by reining in all the crazy stuff? You know, we've talked a little bit about what they canceled, and they've been told, okay, no more Batgirl experiments, no more like that.
Let's see what the books are that they canceled. I know one of them was Prez, which anytime DC says, hey, we're bringing back Prez, you go, oh, wow, you guys are really hammered, aren't you? Prez was a piece of shit when it came out the first time. There we go. DC canceled titles 2015. DC to M14 Comics. Boy, they've canceled so many books, I can't even find what ones were canceled just lately. How's that? Let's see. DC canceled titles 2015. I'm not even going to bother. But a lot of the stuff they canceled is the stuff that's more experimental. And if you look at DC sales, and if you crunch the numbers, which I do because I'm a nerd like that, over 50% of their sales come from Batman and Justice League books.
The question is, are they erring by destroying these experimental books?
I don't think they're erring by canceling them because they didn't get the audience ready for them. It was, oh, look, here's a bunch of books.
Yeah, but were we ready for Hawkeye? It just hit.
Right, but it wasn't Hawkeye and 12 other books that month. Hawkeye was okay. Hawkeye's been building up here. We're using him here. We're using him here. There seems to be interest. He's in the movie. The Hawkeye book came out after the movie when people were excited about the character. The Black Widow comic came out after the movie when people were excited about the character. Howard the Duck came out after the movie when people were excited about the character. Squirrel Girl came out when, okay, there's no reason for Squirrel Girl, but it's still great. DC just kind of throws shit at the wall and wonders if any of it'll stick. And it's like those little octopuses you had when you're a kid and you throw them against the wall and they slowly just kind of fall down the wall. They throw shit at the wall and it just slowly fades and they don't do any marketing. They don't do any push of it. When you've got stuff that's, quote, off-brand, unquote, you have to push it harder. People fucking know Batman. They don't know Prez.
Well, the question is, are they, you know, to me, Squirrel Girl was like, okay, she's ridiculous, she's out of the blue. Batgirl changed, and it was kind of like, I don't recall them saying she was changing. She just changed.
No, they did a push on it. And Cameron Stewart, who was the writer and also he's an artist, he was everywhere. I think we're the only podcast he wasn't on. He was marketing the book. He, called this podcast and went on this podcast and went on this podcast because what he didn't say was, look, this is only 6 issues and if it doesn't do well, I don't get to continue it. But he went out and he marketed the book. So that when Batgirl changed, rather than what normally happens when you change a creative team to a creative team that's not as well known, the book usually takes a dump of about 10 to 15%. With Cameron, it went up. And the book looked different from everything else on the stands, and it had the tie-in of still being a Batman book. But Justice League 3000, They've got Giffen and DeMatteis and Howard Porter, who drew Grant Morrison's Justice League. And every interview I read with J.M. DeMatteis is that he talks to DC's marketing department and they don't get back to them. Why? Well, they're pushing the anime Batman. Batman's a robot now. Or they're pushing David Fincher's new thing. For marketing to work, the books that people aren't going to know about are the ones you have to promote. And again, the nostalgia doesn't sell more than once. Giffen and DeMatteis, I love their stuff. I really do. But their Justice League book ended 24 years ago. Jen, how old were you 24 years ago?
She's still cooking. She's still cooking pasta.
Jen was 11. Jen was 11 when the Bwahaha Justice League era ended. I love it. Joe, you love it. We're nerds who follow this shit. It's like Steve Gerber's Man-Thing. When he came back and did that, when they were able to go back and get that unfinished story and complete it. I loved that book more than any comic that year. And I also knew shit wasn't going to sell. Because Steve Gerber had not done a Man-Thing story in 35 years.
Oh, Corey, Jim Lee just called. He says he's listening to our podcast and wants you to give him some suggestions on what to do. How can he make DC sell?
First, number one.
Jim, are you getting this? He's not going to repeat it.
Oh, yeah. I repeat it every time. Go out and get name talent.
What?
Hey,
there, Jim. You
got to go out. You got to get name talent. You got to get talent people know. Then you put them on event books. Your event books need to be more than just, we got 2 months we need to fill. Yeah. I was looking at the trade paperback sales. You know how we talk about how Marvel doesn't have any perennial books? Because they're keeping Civil War in print and because they're keeping Infinity Gauntlet in print, those have been in the top 100 now for over a year. You look at DC, what are their perennial books? Dark Knight, Watchmen, 35-year-old books. Oh, what about the Jim Lee Justice League? Nah, it's out of print. What about the Jim Lee Superman? Nah, it's out of print. And the second thing is your marketing department's got to get off their ass and do some work. Get people excited about what's coming out. One of the things that Marvel does is they build up to their big stories. Joe, you got real excited about the Darkseid War, didn't you?
Yeah.
They spent time building up to it, and then it had a payoff. What's next? The essence of storytelling is what's next. Joe, when you read Civil War and the way it ended, you were excited about what was coming next, weren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Or the death of Captain America. You were excited about what was coming next. Why did sales drop after Siege? Because after you read it, you didn't care what was next. But with Secret Wars, you're buying the stuff because you want to know what's coming next. You've got to build that anticipation of what's next, what's coming up next. When you're a creator and you're creating your own stuff, you're selling your stuff off your talent. When you're a big company with a shared universe, you're selling your stuff off of playing with the history and doing the cliffhanger of, oh my God, now what? Like with Lost. The reason people watch Lost is because, holy shit, I can't believe they did that. What's next? When people watch The Walking Dead, everybody's life is in danger. And as I talk about with the book, you get calm periods and then you get, holy crap, I can't believe that happened. What are they going to do next? The second thing with DC that they're not doing that Marvel's doing exceptionally well. Marvel is marketing to people who don't go to comic shops. DC is Marvel in the 90s. Well, you're already buying comics. You're in the habit, so we're just going to coast off your habit. With Marvel, it's, hey, here's Ms. Marvel. Ms. Marvel is a Muslim teenage girl. And we're going to sell it in comic shops and stuff, but we're going to go and we're going to market. We're going to buy web ads. We're going to market outside to people who might be interested in that. We're going to go on The View and announce that we're doing this stuff. We're going to use our media savvy to get people who don't know about comics. Hey, look, here's this comic. It's going to be cool. You could go to a comic shop and buy it, or you could go to iTunes, or you could go to Marvel.com, or you could go here, and you could push a button, and there it is. DC doesn't push their digital at all. At all. Marvel pushes their digital hard. You buy the hard copy of the comic, you get the digital code inside. That's why Marvel's at 40% of sales and DC's at 22% of sales, 3 years after the New 52, which got them more attention than they'd gotten in decades. Anything else, Mr. Lee? Since Joe's talking to him, does Jim Lee have any other questions?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to ask him that. Later.
What are we talking about?
Funny books.
Oh.
So, there we go. There's our comic talk.
Cool.
You know who has some advice for the listeners, Joe?
Who's that?
These guys, our sponsors. This podcast, and all the other podcasts that we have on the Solitaire Rose Network, has sponsors. And our sponsors are, first, as always, our beloved DreamHost.com. DreamHost.com is the best web host in the whole known universe. You need a website. Come on, you know you need a website. If you're going to set up a store, if you're going to start writing, if you're going to start drawing, if you're going to start creating, if you're going to start selling, you need a website. So go to DreamHost.com, use the code CRAZY, and get $20 off your first year. We have a new sponsor. That sponsor is Flaviar, Flaviar. Just go to the Solitaire Rose podcast website at crazycomics.solitairerose.com, where we're inviting you to join. It's a discovery service for spirits aficionados. You gain access to fine spirits at members-only prices. And if you use our link, you get a $10 credit when you join. Finally, if you're listening to this podcast, you are a good-looking person. And as a good-looking person, you cannot trust your skin to just any old razor. That's why we invite you to shave with the amazing razors from Dollar Shave Club. Every month, they send a box with your shave options. At the beginning of the week, you pop in a fresh blade, get that fresh blade shave. It feels fantastic. It's just one of the many ways that I maintain my good looks, and you can maintain your good looks. So join us at the Dollar Shave Club. Their plans start at $3 a month, and they have a money-back guarantee. So if you want to join, just go to www.dollarshaveclub.com/crazy. We love feedback. So if you'd like to give us feedback, you can send us an email at cory.strode@gmail.com, or you can call our voice line at 952-856-0519. Send us an email, drop us a message. We'll put you on the air. We'll answer your question. We love to interact with our fans. We've also got Facebook pages for the Solitaire Rose podcast, for the Crazy Comics and Stories podcast, and the upcoming Solitaire Rose novelcast. So go to Facebook, be our friend. We love friends. If you would like to advertise on Crazy Comics and Stories, Solitaire Rose Radio, or the upcoming Solitaire Rose novelcast, you can just send an email to cory.strode@gmail.com, subject advertising. Thanks.
Cool.
And after we're done with the sponsors, now we get Joe's segment.
Yeah.
Jim, would you like to introduce Joe's segment? Are you drunk enough to do that yet?
What's Joe's segment?
Joe, that's your cue.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what my segment was.
Oh, dear God.
What's it called?
Joe, what you doing on eBay?
Joe, what you doing on eBay?
Oh.
Joe sends me emails who said and all of the emails. Hey, make sure that after you do the ads, I want to do my eBay stuff. Okay, Joe, that will be your segment. You are in charge of that segment. That's all yours.
Yeah, but you do a bad job of introducing it. Jen did a fabulous job. Thank you, Jen. I knew I could count on you.
You're welcome.
You know how I used to say eBay was like playing penny stocks?
No, but
I know.
Go ahead.
See, you listen to me as much as I listen to you. You know, it's just...
When you start talking the stock market, my eyes glaze over.
No, it's like I talked about. You know, I mean, people say, well, you can't make money at comics. I said, well, yes, you can. You just need to know what you're buying. And, you know, if I could go to a con like the one that the comiccard.net guys are doing on November 7th out at the Bloomington VFW, that's 311 West 84th Street. And you can go to www.comiccard.net or go to the MCBA Fall Comic Con, and they'll have flyers for Comic Card because those two guys get along really well. But I dropped like $100 picking up stuff at $2 a pop, and I brought it back, and a lot of it I just flipped on eBay. You know, spent $2, sold some for 10, sold some for 4. This week was the other side of that equation. I've been blowing out crap at 99 cents. And with the exception of one book, which I actually paid 99 cents for, I pretty much have lost money on every single book I sold. Because whenever I get together with my old partner, Pat, we talk about this. You know, we talked a lot about variant covers. If you are really gung-ho on getting a variant cover, wait. Because odds are you're going to find it a lot cheaper on eBay, especially if you wait a year or so. Now, there are certain books in the past, like I would love to get a copy of Platinum Spider-Man #1. This was like the retailer edition that they gave out as a thank you for retailers ordering ungodly numbers of Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man #1. An unslabbed copy can run you anywhere from $70 to $200. Everybody, of course, slabs it because it had an extra cardstock cover, and it slabs really nice. So you get a lot of 9.0s and whatever. Then they run out and they get Todd signing it, and then they get Stan Lee to sign it, and yada, yada, yada. There are exceptions. I think when Amazing Spider-Man 400, was it, came out, and then they stopped it and went into Superior Spider-Man. 700, that's what it was.
400 was the death of Aunt May.
The super
she got better.
Rare edition was the unused Tidco art that they decided not to use for Amazing Spider-Man, Amazing Fantasy 15 way back when. And that must have been a 1 in 400 thing, because even now people are slabbing it, ungodly accounts. I haven't seen one for less than $500. Most of the other variants you can find cheap. And that's kind of what happened to me. I just got to the point where you know what? 99 cents a piece, $2.99. I had 3 people pick up like 10 different variants. I was just blowing these things out. Not a pretty week. The only real bright spot, I sold a odd copy of Total Recall. I don't even know where I got it from. It was basically a DC movie special. It's got a total blue-faced Arnold Schwarzenegger on the cover. And there's a series of them where they actually had them signed by the 2 people who did the comic adaptation, Elliot S. Magan and Tom Lyle. And again, I picked this up probably back in my photo comic phase, and I just put it up there. People are asking $20, $30, $40. I put it out at $15 and sold it. So kind of an ugly day on eBay. That's okay. I'll be back. I'll list more things. I promise. It'll be exciting. I got a whole ton of stuff. Jen can attest. I got a basement full of crap to sell. And of course, as you know, if you win something, send me a quick email. The easiest way to do it is just through eBay system. Otherwise, you can just send me a note at crazycomics@gmail.com. Let me know you listen to the show. I'll toss in something from my vast accumulation of stuff. Might give you free shipping. Hell, The last guy who did it, I hand delivered it to his door.
Whoa!
I know.
Yeah. Now, you're just saying that so that somebody in San Diego will order something and you can go and hang out on the beach.
Well, no, I can hang at their place when I go to Comic-Con.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're not going to get tickets to Comic-Con.
No, I'm not going to get tickets to Comic-Con.
Nobody gets
I've given that. That's not even on my bucket list.
I don't even have a bucket list. Hell, I don't even have a bucket.
Well, I could get you one. I got you a toaster once.
God, I miss the crickets.
I miss buckets.
Well, since Joe's done with the endless shilling and plugging,
Stamps.
You know what that means.
No.
Time for freaking and geeking. Joe, what are you freaking on? What's bugging you? What's bothering you?
I'm still not off for the Fall Comic-Con. So you may go to Fall Comic-Con out at the Minnesota State Education Building and see the lovely Jen, the talented Dan, and the alleged best dressed man in comics. I hear there's going to be a gunfight. You know what's going to happen is when you get there, Corey's eyes are going to turn white, and then you know shit's going to get real. It's going to be October 10th at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds, mcbacomiccon.com. They got all the guests in that listed, so.
Well, not all of them.
Well, no, we're going to smuggle a few in.
Well, yeah.
So, but I'm still not off for that. Time is running short. I don't know who I've got to bribe, kill. Oh, well. That's pretty much it. Oh, wait, there was one other thing. You were grilling me about my old podcast, the long threatened one.
The long rumored solo podcast, which it's not going to happen.
No, actually, I sat down with a notebook and I plotted down the secret origins of Kray. And we're talking, this was BC, before collecting. You know, how I viewed comics before collecting versus when I started collecting with, of course, the Amazing Spider-Man 178. And I had everything listed down up to the years where Pat and I met and our first con and everything. And I figured I could squeeze it all in a quick 1 hour episode, maybe cut it into 2. When I made the move from the cave upstairs to the catacombs next to the Cyclotron 3000, which is remained fairly silent today, I have no frickin' clue where that notebook went. I've got literally 15 notebooks around me as we sit here. And I can't figure out which one's which. I don't know if Dana took it, Molly took it, if Chris threw it. She may feed me meat, but boy, she does not respect my accumulation of crap, I'm telling you. And I've tried to redo it, and I just can't do it. I don't know if you've ever done that, Corey, in your vast writings, where you've written something and you've lost it, and then you're like, well, I can redo it, and you're like, I just can't do it. It's just not there again. So I don't know if I should just skip that, chalk it up as a lost one. I mean, it will surface one of these years. I mean, this crap can't last forever. We're in Tornado Alley. I got a natural gas main right next to me. Those wildfires in California look pretty nasty. Something's going to give. But anyways, I'm a little freaking on that because, I mean, I am getting excited to do one. I don't know. What do you think, Strode? Should I just move on to just make that a lost episode and just move on to the second one?
I think you do need to give your origin. What I tell people, because I do get asked a lot, what should I do with my first podcast? Your first podcast should be, who are you, and why the hell should I listen to you?
Yes. And that's kind of what I was going for. Actually, seeing you here think I don't listen to you.
No, I know you don't listen to me.
You know.
I've seen you post on Facebook while we're recording. I've seen you in person where you're looking, looking for comics and stuff when I'm talking. I notice nobody listens to me, but that's okay because I'm used to that.
You say here I don't listen to you.
It's okay. My cat loves me.
Maybe. I think she just tolerates you.
Your cat likes you because you feed it.
Yes.
No, because I don't. She doesn't know that I feed her. I've got one of the things you put 4 pounds of food in. So she always has food. She loves me because she's had to put up with me for 15 years. She hates everyone else, though.
But the question is now, Jen, what are you freaking on? What's got you, I don't know, more upset than the body count from the Rambo movie?
I'm tired. I'm so tired. That's it.
She's so tired.
Joe, stop singing.
She hasn't got a wink.
It feels like I haven't had a break in the last 3 months between work and packing and moving and unpacking and setting up my apartment and other work and now trying to get ready for FallCon and just driving everywhere. I mean, and I enjoyed going up to Duluth, but I'm so tired.
You were knackered on the way back.
I know. I was having a hard time staying awake while we were driving. And it's not that I don't get sleep, because when I sleep, I just pretty much, I have had some insomnia recently, but I just pass out from exhaustion almost every night. And I just can't, it's just been nonstop since I got back from SpringCon. And I'm tired. So tired.
I blame Joe.
It's all Joe's fault.
You're right.
Somebody needs to
I badgered you into going to Duluth.
You did.
I did.
But I was glad to see you the other night.
That was good. It was a good surprise.
And I got to pet the rabbit.
He likes you.
I'm not freaking though, so that's really all I've got. You should tell me what you're freaking out about, Joe.
Nah. Corey, what are you freaking out? What's got you down in the dumps?
Really not a whole lot. There are a bunch of little annoyances and stuff, but when I'm looking at what's coming up for comics, when I'm looking at what's coming up for, other things, my geek excitement is running pretty high. I have more than enough spare time at my job that I'm able to read. About the only thing that I'm really freaking on is with Force Friday, which was a really cool excuse to get people to go out and buy Star Wars toys. They also put out a Star Wars novel. And one of the things I complained about with the previous extended universe of Star Wars is, and Joe's heard me blather about this endlessly, it's after the first couple of years, it became, well, we're going to do a novel about this droid that showed up in this novel and has never been on screen in any of the Star Wars movies ever. I am 110 pages into this new Star Wars novel. The only 2 characters from the movie who have shown up in it are Princess Leia in a recorded hologram that they've repeated 4 times, and Wedge Antilles, who by page 30 is knocked out and in a coma. And the rest of it is all of these characters who weren't in the movies, and I cannot find it in my heart to give a flying shit about any of them. And it's the same mistake they made in the past. When I pick up a Star Wars novel, I want to read about Luke Skywalker. I want to read about Han Solo. I don't pick up a Star Wars novel that's the sequel to Return of the Jedi to read about some single mom and her rebellious 14-year-old kid who sells droid parts to smugglers.
The Force is not strong in this Strode.
It's the same mistake and in a lot of ways it's the same mistake they made with the Star Trek books. It's, okay, well, we've written a whole bunch of stories about the characters in the TV show, and Peter David's kind of spin-off thing of Another Ship did well. Let's just do nothing but series about characters who nobody knows. I think the only other thing I'm freaking out about is I'm really, really tired of people coming to me who know that I like superhero stuff but don't know me real well. They're like, are you real excited about Heroes coming back? I think I'd rather hit my big toe with a ball peen hammer repeatedly than give a shit about Heroes coming back. It had one good season and 3 seasons that made me want to curl into a ball and die. I'm not going to watch the reboot of Heroes. Enough sadness. Joe, what are you geeking on? What are you loving? What are you excited about? What is making you jump up and down and forget to post on Facebook for 10 minutes?
Holly got all A's in her class. So I'm very, very impressed with her. And she's doing advanced placement stuff too. So I was kind of impressed with that. Kudos, shout out to her, although she never listens to this here podcast. So I don't know why I wasted your time with that. Speaking of, while you guys were gallivanting off in Duluth, I actually had a fun day.
Gallivanting?
Carousing, reprobating.
Jen, you know English. Is gallivanting a word?
She's eating pasta or
drinking vodka
cooking,
or drinking
in pasta. It's all vodka.
She's drinking pasta and eating vodka. I don't know. She's wandered away.
I had a decent day Sunday with the family. Everybody was over. We had breakfast. We didn't do anything. We just kind of had a normal day. We helped Dana get some stuff to her house. Went off, visited my folks, dropped Holly off. Holly helped my mom because you can't explain things to my mom. You have to show her. So when she called me last week and I lost my internet, and I'm like, ugh. Okay, well, what's your internet password?
Did you look behind the couch?
I don't know my internet password. Okay, well, I really can't help. I'll bring Holly out. So that kind of took care of that. And we finished up the day, so it was kind of fun. I mean, the kids are getting older. I'm getting older. I don't have a lot of family days like that left, so that was fun. Thanks to Mr. Strode, I am now on Amazon.
Ooh.
Yeah, we were talking last week, one of the books that I had, the Eternals Omnibus, going for silly money on Amazon. So I found mine, and I have an Amazon account. I think it's a crossover from Kickstarter. I'm not sure. It's just I typed in my email and boom, it was there. So it just took a couple steps, and I could actually list it. And I put it up. I put it about half of what everybody else has theirs priced at. I have no idea if it'll sell or not. So if you're looking for me on Amazon, that's Crazy Comics. On eBay, it's just Crazy. So if you see it.
And you could go there from our Amazon Superstore, which is available on the webpage. Just go to the webpage. You'll see our advertisers. Right there is you click on that, and that's our Amazon store. And the cool thing about that is your prices are exactly the same as if you went to Amazon all by yourself, but they let us wet our beak a little. Jen's vodka is not cheap.
She only wants the good stuff.
And not infused by me anymore, obviously.
Same deal. I can't control shipping on Amazon the way I could. I could offer a lot of different shipping options. But if I know you bought it, first of all, I don't know why you would, because I'm asking silly Amazon money for it, not
$800.
Yeah, not. You said the other one that 600 sold, and the other ones are what, 1,700 in the 2,000?
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever, I'll give it a try. If it doesn't, I'll just put it on eBay or whatever. But anyways, if you do see me, I'm probably going to do that. I mean, the regular price stuff and the cheap stuff, I'll just blow on eBay. If I do run across silly out of print price stuff, I'd probably put it on Amazon. And again, if it's you, the listener, maybe I'll cut you a deal on it or whatever. We'll figure something out. Comic-wise, I really haven't done much. I started cracking in the back issue number 83. This is from, was it Tomorrow Press? This one has Alpha Flight on the cover. I went through the Alpha Flight. I read a little bit about Stan Lee going to Britain in order to help the launch of Captain Britain. Unfortunately, Britain at that time was going through their own seduction of the innocent phase. There was a comic called Action that came out that was so bloody and gross that the whole country went bug nuts. Oh, we have to ban things. And so Stan Lee's over there trying to promote the comic Captain Britain, which Marvel put a lot of time and effort behind. It was just bad timing for all. I was reading into the Spider-Man reprints, and I guess I did not realize they actually had some original Spider-Man stories that they had done after they ran out of all the catalog stuff. For UK comic books in the 70s, they published them weekly. And I know Transformers, there's a ton of Transformers stuff that they had to make exclusively for the UK market because there wasn't a lot of Transformers stuff. But for Spider-Man, they had all this stuff. They got to the point where they got up to Secret Wars and they didn't want to publish anything in the black costume because they didn't publish Secret Wars yet. It was still coming out in the US. So they skipped over that and they kept going. They went to Peter Parker. They went to Marvel Team Up. And then eventually they got to a point where they had to have their own original stuff. And the claim they're saying in the back issue is that they've never republished this stuff in the United States. So I'm kind of curious about that. The other thing I'm interested in, and I mentioned this, I think, when I ordered it, but I finally got my copy of Bob Crane, The Definitive Autobiography. It's by Carol M. Ford with D. Young and Linda J. Groundwater. I mention their names because this is actually one of those signed copies that you get. You go to eBay, or not eBay, you go to Facebook, type in Bob Crane, and you'll find Bob Crane, The Definitive Biography, or vote for Bob Crane, either one of these places, and you can actually follow the links and get yourself your own copy of this book. The reason why this book came to be is because a lot of people, when they think Bob Crane, they just remember, oh, he was murdered horrifically, he had a porn addiction, and they totally blank over he was a talented drummer. He was one of the premier DJs on the West Coast. We're talking Gary Owens, Howard Stern level of fame, and just an all-around nice guy. He was hit stardom with Hogan's Heroes, did a lot of stuff before that, a lot of stuff after. And, of course, he had an addiction. And that seems to be the one that everybody remembers, that he had this sex addiction. And the people who wrote this book just thought, that's just sucks that people just remember him for how his life ended. Never mind the fact that at the time he knew he had it. He was working with people trying to get it under control. We've got stars nowadays that have it. I mean, I'm sure if David Duchovny had died in a horrific murder based on his sex addiction, he would probably gone down the same road as Bob Crane. So this is a chance, if you're at all interested, to pick up a copy of it and find out about the real man, not just all the hubbubaloo and the sensational movies and things like that. TV-wise, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to go up with my wife, who graciously feeds me meat, and we're going to watch the season premiere of Big Bang Theory. Tomorrow, or as I call it a week ago, Tuesday, for you just listening to this, The Muppet Show is going to premiere on ABC, so I'll be recording that, and maybe, depending on what the free-for-all is next week, we might talk about it. So that's pretty much it. Other than that, just watching reruns of Star Trek, MASH, whatever. A lot of things waiting to watch. Still got my sealed copy of Women's Prison Massacre, so maybe I'll crack that open and watch it. That's pretty much all I've been geeking on. Jen, are you there? Are you geeking on anything?
Yeah, I'm here. I had to roll back across the room.
Oh, she's got a roller chair. Cool.
I know, and I have a hardwood floor, so I can just roll everywhere. Someone gave me a little mat cutter, so I was putting it together while you were rambling.
Because I'm a rambling man.
No, I'm geeking because, when was it we went to the Mall of America?
Tuesday.
So we went to the Mall of America, and I have I've always had since I was a little kid, a phobia of large enclosed spaces. And it's really interesting because it's kind of like an inverse claustrophobia. If there's no ceiling, I'm fine, but when you have a sports stadium or something with a really high enclosed ceiling, and my feet would stick to the floor basically, and it would have a tingling sensation that went from my feet to my knees. And so we went to the Mall of America, which has 4 floors?
Yep.
And it's open in the middle and kind of at the bends and intersections of the different ways you can go. There's pretty high ceilings, and I know when I lived here before, it actually bothered me quite a lot. I had a hard time going to a lot of parts of the mall and would kind of hug the walls as I walked through the stores and the shops and try to stay away. And I noticed when we were there, that wasn't bothering me anymore. Like, at all. Which, you know, it's been a lot of, I don't talk too much about personal stuff here, but it's basically an irrational phobia, like they all are, and I just noticed that it was gone, like with a lot of my anxieties and problems I've had this year. And then when we went to Duluth, of course, which is where I'm going with this, there were butterflies, weren't there?
Yes, there were many.
There were many butterflies, and again, since I was a little kid, I have always been afraid of butterflies, and I realized that is absolutely ridiculous. Snakes, cool. Tarantulas, rats, mice, always good, but butterflies, no. Because they kind of just flicker around in the air, and they'll just get up in your shit, and they have no respect for your personal space.
They also got itty-bitty brains about the size of a period.
And this just terrified me when I was a child, and it always has. Like, they're pretty, and if they're dead, they're fine. If they're like mounted on a display board, like at the museum, they're fine. Pictures of butterflies are fine. And I thought there was a point, a few years ago where, the Houston Museum of Natural Science has a pyramid type building that is full of cultivated butterflies. They breed them and release them, and they live in this, you know, they grow plants for the butterflies to eat. So you can walk in there and there's just thousands of butterflies, and they're used to people. So they'll land on you, they'll fly around, they don't care you're there. And I thought, this is really stupid. This is just fucking stupid. I'm gonna go in this butterfly pyramid and be cool. And I went in there, and this was a few years ago, and I lasted about 5 minutes until I said, I can't do this, and ran down the entire pathway as fast as I could past small children gleefully playing with butterflies. I ran in terror. Out of the.
Well, don't worry, the butterflies are going, holy fuck, this giant monster's trying to kill me!
I know, right?
It's gleeful for the children, but the butterflies scared as all hell. How do you feel about spiders?
Spiders are alright. I don't really care either way.
See, when we had breakfast with my family, like I was talking about, we went outside and we opened this umbrella to sit under it. And as I'm sitting there, all of a sudden I feel something on my pinky, and this, like, spider with a leg span about the size of 50 centipede is curling itself around my pinky, and I just flick, and it lands on the table, and it just hunches up and doesn't move until we're gone. And I'm trying to figure out, where the hell did this thing come from? Well, it was hiding under the umbrella. So we just had spider, me, my family, and big old spider. And eventually Dana saw it crawl away, so I felt bad. I hope I didn't kill it.
Well, I had, of course, my DSLR with me. We went up to Duluth hoping to see some trees changing color, but I guess it's still a little bit early for that. But I mainly wanted to see the water, so I wasn't too busted up about the lack of yellow trees. But there's all these butterflies, and I thought, I want to take a picture of these butterflies, because that's a thing that you do when you have a camera. And I really wanted a good close-up picture, and I have a zoom lens, but it's not a super big telephoto lens, so you can't get that close. So I was getting closer and closer to them, and they started flying around, and then I realized I'm not afraid of them anymore. So, I'm curious, like, I don't have a lot of other fears to test this out on, but I seem to have been, at some point in my process this year of repairing myself and rebuilding my life, I seem to have shed a lot of my irrational fears and phobias going all the way back to childhood. So look out, world. I am absolutely fearless now. That's probably not a good thing.
Don't worry, you'll make some more phobias.
Possibly.
Fear of podcasts and people talking about comics for hours.
Well, I was bothered by my own voice when I started doing this, but I got over that surprisingly quickly.
I had that same thing when I was in college radio. I'm like, ew. And Corey's like, you never listen to the podcast, do you? Well, yeah, there's a reason for that.
I never have a good geeking about anything because I don't read comic books or watch TV or any of this except for Mad Max. So I was happy that I actually had something to talk about until you started trying to talk about this right at the beginning of the show. Thank you, Joe.
Yep. Now you're supposed to ask Corey if you care. If not, we can just go to the end of the show.
Corey, could you please carry on about comic books for another half hour?
Geeking. I haven't got to read a whole lot. I am doing research on the next Tales from the Crypt episode of the solo podcast, so I'm reading the second year of Tales from the Crypt. And boy, you could tell that they got all the bugs out, and they were firing on all cylinders. The art on these issues is phenomenal, especially when you compare it to other comics in the 50s. They were like head and shoulders above anything anybody else was publishing. It's just such a joy to read how good this stuff is. The plots are very formulaic, but it doesn't matter because you've got this beautiful, beautiful art. I am not a person who seeks out movie previews anymore, but I saw the preview for Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight. I now know what I'm doing on Christmas. I am going to the theater for the first show and staying all day until they kick me out after watching it as many times as I can. I have deep, abiding love of Quentin Tarantino, and this one looks really, really good. Dan Slott and Michael Allred announced that the Silver Surfer book that they do will be coming back. They did not say when. Matter of fact, Allred said January, February, March. We don't know yet. We just know Silver Surfer's coming back. The Silver Surfer book by Allred and Slott is one of my top 5 comics right now, and it's one of those that continues to get better. And I like the fact that Michael Allred, who's been working in comics since the early 90s, and when he first came to Marvel, people were like, his art is weird, it's strange, I don't like it. Now he's kind of considered one of their bigger name artists. And his style has gotten better, but it hasn't changed much, which means that, once again, here's an artist that I liked who was, 10, 15 years ahead of his time. The season premiere of Doctor Who was Saturday night. I worked Saturday. I worked a very long shift to the point where Jen was asking me if I would be able to go pick up a love seat Saturday, and I said, well, when I get off work, I'll be kind of tired, but I could do it. And she looked at my schedule and went, you're working till 9? Holy shit, you're crazy. And when I got home, I was so tired. It was an emotionally draining day. I remember I just came home, I dropped my bag and shit on the floor and just kind of collapsed onto the couch. And before I even had the remote in my hand, the cat was on my chest staring at me. And there it was, the season premiere of Doctor Who. Joe, this is not really a spoiler because it all happens in the first, 2 minutes.
Not that I'll remember it by the time I get to it.
How would you like to watch an episode of Doctor Who which starts off with the Master and Davros? That's your start, kids. That's the first 5 minutes. And the funny thing is, when I go online, you get the people who bellyache and complain, and they pick at the continuity, and it's like, shut up and enjoy the show. Just shut up. Shh. Enough. Stop. It's great. Shut up. And then the last thing I'm geeking on. Jen, are you still listening? Good, she's not listening. I have got to spend...
here.
Damn it. Can you turn off your speakers or your headphones or whatever?
No.
Damn it. I have talked in the past about how much I enjoy the fact that Jen has moved up here and how much I enjoy spending time with her. We went to a restaurant at the Mall of America that was kind of the first place that we went to eat when she got here. Twin Cities Grill.
You mean a long time ago.
Yes, back, in the pre-time.
In the olden times.
In the before time. And one, she remembered it, which is amazing to me because, she doesn't remember anything about, before, she doesn't remember anything before 2013.
I don't remember anything about anything.
And the waiter there was a lot of fun, but it was just really, it was kind of nostalgic and fun and cool, and I kind of enjoy going shopping with her because she has such precise and really good taste. And I'm not aesthetic in any way, shape, or form. Joe, you've been in my house. My house is just a pile of crap. But she's very precise, and it's been unbelievably cool to watch her put together this awesome apartment, but also how meticulous she is at picking out things and how they fit an aesthetic and all. And I've enjoyed that. And then our trip to Duluth, I don't go with people many places. I tend to do stuff on my own because everybody I know has plans, or, they tell me they have plans. Anytime I ask Joe if he wants to go do something, he says he's washing his hair. But it was a lot of fun to go up there. The ride was, while the view for the ride was not what we wanted, it was still a beautiful view, and it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. And the last thing I'm geeking on is interactive. So listeners, I want you to go to your computers right now. Joe, are you at your computer right now?
Hang on, I'm coming. Okay, what?
Are you at your computer right now?
Let me see. Hang on a second. That's on it. Yeah, I guess I am.
Okay, what I want you to do is go to your browser and type in novels.solitairerose.com.
Novels. Oh, hang on. You don't write dot, you put a period.
He's posting on Facebook right now.
solitairerose.com.
He always posts on Facebook. I could say great things about Joe, too, and he won't.
This web page is not available.
Novels.solitairerose.com.
Novels, plural. Yeah, you didn't tell me you wrote more than one.
I don't know why I did.
Congratulations. You too can have a penis that will thrill all women.
No. Joe, you got to clear your browser. You've been going to X videos all day, haven't you?
Who's
looking for Carly Fiorina porn.
I can't help it. I mean, there was a lot of porn with Carly Fiorina on it, and I just had to check it out.
Jen, can you please go to novels.solitairerose.com?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
A new podcast, the third podcast for the Solitaire Rose Network, has begun.
Nice WordPress template.
What's the significance of the house?
It's a picture.
You live in a trailer home. Why don't you just put a picture of that?
You'll see. But there you go, kids. Go subscribe. It's on iTunes now. It'll be on Stitcher whenever they approve it. Tuned In Radio. They're on the interwebs. Enjoy. The introduction is up, and it will be a bi-weekly podcast starting the first week of October.
Cool.
So, yep, that's the third podcast that we've been talking about that is adding to the Solitaire Rose Radio Network. There are 2 more podcasts that are negotiating to join the Solitaire Rose Radio Network, including one that already exists.
Ooh.
Thinking of moving over. Ooh. So we are growing and taking over the world.
I don't think I'd want that. I read that Dr. Doom one where he took over the world. Didn't like it.
Well, believe it or not, kids, you've listened to us blather on about funny books for over an hour and a half. Joe, normally you say something here.
I'm putting your link on our the official Crazy Comics and Stuff podcast page on Facebook, which you too can join if you want.
Well, as we say every week, kids, the comic we like the least, we still like better than the comic that you like the most. Jen, do you have a closing line yet?
Hit my music.
Is your music like armpit related? No.
No.
Oh, okay. Like Velcro pants walking down a hallway, flip, 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 flip.
No.
I think what we may have to do is Joe give his closer and then Jen saying the hit my music.
Good, because I'm real tired of you hitting my music.
Good.
Yeah. Wait. Does that mean we're going to have new closing music?
It could be.
Maybe you could let me do it just this time.
Okay, Corey, start over. You go to me and then we'll go to Jen.
Yeah, because I don't have a joke like Joe does.
Joe now doesn't do jokes. He does quotes.
Well, do whatever you're going to do, Joe.
All right. Okay. I got to do the whole thing.
You going to leave all this in?
Probably.
Of course.
Yes, okay.
Yes, we let people. We are doing a shoot, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a work; it's a shoot.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we're waiting.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Joe,
take 3.
The comic we like the least, we still like better than the comic that you like the most. Joe?
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall, short or fat, or thin or ugly or handsome, like your father, or you can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character. Herman Munster.
Okay.
And now you throw it to Jen.
No, you throw it.
No, God damn it!
Hit my music, boys.
Ooh, I like that. Hit my music, boys.